Hey Rich, I wonder what 2022 is going to bring to the Southwest Florida real estate market.
Well, a lot of people always ask us what's going to happen and haven't had our crystal ball repaired, but now we do. So maybe we can get just a somewhat of an idea of what sneak peeks there could be in 22. So let's talk about it.
Well, yeah, sneak peeks on the real estate trends for Florida in 2022. Here we go. Well, the real estate market we know in 2021 has been incredibly hot.
Oh, yeah.
Just a burning hot market in Southwest Florida. And a lot of people do ask whether that trend could possibly continue to 2022 or whether we're going to see a lot of things return to some version of what people consider normalcy. And that's really a tough question always to ask. As you said kind of jokingly, we always say our crystal ball's still in the shop. It didn't come back yet.
Right.
And it still isn't. But we have been obviously keeping up with trends, and we're always, checking on what's being published and shared across the real estate market. And so while we're sitting here having a nice cup of tea and coffee and doing some planning, we had the opportunity to read through one of the articles from the Florida Realtors Association, where they tapped into top economists and real estate professionals across Florida and asked their input on these top trends. So that's really where these trends are coming from. Not that we pulled them from the crystal ball in the shop, but there are some top trends. And there are actually, I think, a few headlines that, as we read through that article, just keep coming to the forefront. So stay tuned, because we're going to share 6 specific trends that are being forecast for 2022. But just to kind of warm things up, some of the top headlines from that article included the fact that 2022 looks like it's going to be still a really strong year for Florida residential real estate. So I'm not surprised by that.
Not surprised at all. I mean, we can see those trends ourselves and just in our market. So, I'm not surprised about that.
Right. So that's one. The other one, the next one, as a real top headline, and we'll dig into it a little more, is that low interest rates have had a real impact on the market in the last year and a half or 2 years, and they are continuing to expect low or lower mortgage rates to still be a factor in 2022, and we'll talk about what that could look like. Another piece of it has to do with the new construction side of the market. A top headline from the article starts to reflect on builders and how builders are really trying to help fill a gap, but that there's been like a 15-year imbalance in supply and demand in Florida, and it's really catching up with this market because of the really, really strong inbound demand. And so we'll talk a little bit about what the buyer thinks about builders and new construction and how that's going to be a factor. And I think then the other one that you can't help but recognize is that the pandemic trends have had a unique impact on the market. And people ask themselves still this question about, where do I want to live and work and enjoy my life? And many people answer that now with the answer being Florida.
Florida is the place.
And so those are sort of foundational concepts that are going to come out, I think, as we talk about the top 6 trends and the sneak peek of real estate trends for 2022.
Right.
So if we go in deeper, the very first trend is that there's going to be, in the eyes of these economists and real estate professionals, some rebalancing between the power of buyers and the power of sellers in the market. It has been such an overwhelmingly strong sellers market that that's probably pretty good news for just the long-term health of our market, to have some better balance between buyers and sellers.
It does. And we've seen some of those trends even in our market where homes were never really going to open houses. They were just going on the market and they were selling. Now we're starting to see homes on the market and they're having open houses again. So there's been a little settling there.
I think that's a really important, consideration of how long a house is on the market, how many buyers get to see it, and then how many buyers might be reaching out to that seller to say, that's the home for me. And what these trends are suggesting is that where our crazy red hot market at the beginning of 2021 was bringing upwards of 15 to 20 offers easily for a nice, attractive home, Now it could still be 4 or 5 bids on that home.
Right.
So it hasn't reversed itself,
Right.
but it has tempered.
Right.
And it's a more hopeful market for buyers because they're more likely to be at the top of the list if there's, 3, 4, 5 offers, and they
Right.
were not feeling very confident when they felt like their offer was in a stack of 15 to 20.
Exactly, and they're also now sellers are also accepting offers from people who are financing. Where before everything was cash sale, ready to go, move it along, and they would be usually the winner of the bid. But now, not so many are cash anymore. Now the people are saying, well, I've got a very qualified, solid buyer that is willing to meet many of your needs, and they're accepting those.
That's really helpful to buyers for sure
It
to
is.
have choices. And yet we still always, for people to be thinking about, we always have a strong cash market here, maybe even unlike some other parts of the country. There's often
Right.
about a 50-50 split in cash in our
Right.
normal times, and it just, as you said, kind of spiked even higher than that
It
in
did.
the last year and a half. And,
Right.
and there's still a strong cash market. So if a buyer has an opportunity for cash, that will always be a strong
That's a strong point.
play.
And we have found ways to have a buyer that was going to finance to be able to do a cash offer even though they actually are financing. So that's something that we can talk about.
Absolutely. Now, the related concept to this, I think, with the rebalancing and the fact that it seems more attainable to put in a bid on a home and to possibly get it, means that owners who really would be interested in moving, who felt just like, where will I go? Where will I go? If I sell my house in a half hour, I
Well,
have nowhere to go.
And that's what we thought too, right? We were
Right.
saying, well, gee, we can sell our house, but okay, well, what would we do? Where would we go? So we're not going to even think about
it. So many people were in that situation.
Right.
Now, as that rebalancing is being forecast for 2022, it could actually have a good impact on housing inventory in the Florida market. And that's part of the trend of the rebalancing that we're studying up on, because if an owner feels that they have a hopeful path forward to the home they want, whether they're upsizing, downsizing, or just moving to another community, they're more likely to be willing to include their home as a new listing in our market.
Right.
That can help us with inventory, which we're still looking for, and everybody, kind of gets back in the game. So I think that number one trend is really one of the strongest ones, is there's some rebalancing, and we're going to have to watch how the details play out.
Right, absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, in a macro trend number 2 is that the Florida population continues to grow.
Right.
And I think, again, probably not a surprise based on the attractive climate as we sit out here in the winter and, think it's a pretty warm day again.
That's
and,
right.
there are so many things that are drawing people to Florida. The U.S. Census apparently in their 2020 numbers recognized that Florida's population is up to 21.5 million, and that is close to a 15% increase over the last decade, only fueled and accelerated since about
The
March of
last 2 years,
2020,
right? Yeah.
where people said, this is a lifestyle, an outdoor living, it feels healthier, we want to be here, and it really just pushed even more people to what they call have an in-migration to Florida.
Right.
People coming from the Northeast, from the Midwest, and from California are still inquiring, as well as people, of course, moving within our Florida markets.
Right.
And we have a lot of that too as
think-
people's needs change.
I think we had one from Alaska, which was probably the farthest away. So,
Right, right. So, that trend is going to be an important one. People want that amount of space. One of the economists in the article made a really interesting point, because Florida is a big and very diverse state, and what some of these trends are about Florida. The sub-point that I thought really caught my eye was that the story for 2022 could be Southwest Florida and the west coast of Florida, because people who are coming from those areas, which often are more populated with bigger cities, they're looking for space, as I mentioned, and they want a slower paced lifestyle in a place that's affordable. And Southwest Florida, relative to our state's big metro areas,
Right.
is an affordable option for a lot of people.
It is. It's very nice over on this part of the state, and a lot of people are looking at some of the metro areas that they're coming from, and they don't want to do that again in Florida.
Right, and the costs. You know, you can go to certain places, say Southeast Florida or some of our other major cities, and you know you have city-like prices, pretty from a housing point of view, and just from a cost of living perspective.
Right.
So, I think these spaces that we have that are a little bit more subdued and laid back are attractive to people, and that's what the trend says.
And
That's what the economists are looking at for 2022.
And I've said it before, is in our area here, it's not like you're giving up any of the big city activities living in our area, because we still have the symphony, we still have the playhouse, we still have the theater, we still have fantastic dining opportunities. So it's like living in having a little city, but having all of the big city amenities.
Very, very nice choice to have if
Yeah,
you can do it,
it
right?
really is.
So, people are interested in that. This is the environment that we can offer, and it has a lot to offer. Trend number 3, the return of international buyers.
Yes.
Again, perhaps not a surprise. We had so many people who could not travel because of pandemic-related restrictions. And so there is now a lag, with pent-up demand of people who would otherwise have been here in the last year and a half, who are now getting ready to come back.
They're going to come back.
Now, where's our number one international market?
Well, it's got to be Canada.
It is.
So,
Absolutely. You got it. And that's followed by the UK, Germany, and France in kind of big numbers, as well as, of course, people from many, many other diverse areas. And because those folks now have more latitude to travel again, the expectation is that 2022 will be a year that they return to Florida and return to our residential housing market. So I think not a surprise on that trend, but we are expecting to see that kind of put another little bit of pressure into buying and selling here in Southwest Florida.
We did see a little bit when travel was restricted, where some of the international homeowners were listing their properties for sale because they couldn't get here. They didn't know when they were going to get here, so they thought, well, maybe we'll just sell it. Well, now it's opened up again, so I think that those people are going to be coming back. The ones that didn't sell are going to be coming back and enjoying it, and the ones that then there's going to be a whole lot of new people that are going to say, I want to get in on this now.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. So that was trend number 3. We're halfway through the list. The next one is a little bit maybe different for some people, because so many folks that we talk to are true residential, homeowners. But one of the trends in the market that impacts those homeowners is the balance between their participation in the market and what it would be viewed as institutional investment buyers. And institutional investment buyers are still a factor in our market. They like to come here. They see it as a large rental market as well. And so institutional buyers will come looking for single family homes and condominiums that they can put into a rental property management process. And that's a way that they're going to make money on the real estate over time, but create income producing, opportunity for themselves as well.
Right.
Now, even with those institutional buyers, it was interesting to read that the prediction is that families and individuals will still create more demand for investment property in Florida in 2022 than those institutional investment buyers. And I think that's the part of this trend that we have experienced.
It is.
People who say, I'm coming here now to invest, but that's not their long-term goal necessarily.
No, and we've seen that where people want to come down, they want to invest, maybe rent it out for a few years, and then come and stay.
Right. So they may be saying, I don't want to sit on the sidelines for 5 years, even if I want to live full-time in Florida in a 5-year plan. I want to participate in the market now. And they come, and again, they are creating, per this article, the higher level of demand for our rental properties. And so they're coming to buy, rent out, and then use that investment to kind of fuel their own transition to Florida.
And many of them are like us. We had all that intention to come here, and we're going to rent out this house, and because we're not going to be here full time, and that never happened. We just got a taste of living here, and we said, well, we don't want to go back.
It was harder every trip,
so
wasn't
we
it?
stopped. Yeah.
Made that a full-time choice much sooner than we had originally thought.
Oh, yes.
So that is trend number 4. Trend number 5 is one that I think people are expecting us to talk about, and that is mortgage interest rates. And, certainly buyers don't want to pass up an opportunity to take advantage of what have been and still are historically low interest rates.
Right.
And interest rates might change a little bit in 2022, but not enough to break this trend.
They're still going to stay under 4% most likely, and unless something strange happens, and that's still a very good mortgage rate to latch onto.
Right. These economists are predicting probably in the 3 to 3.5%. So I think you're spot on. That keeps it under 4, even if they're off by a little bit.
Right.
And that's enough to draw more buyers into our market. So that's going to be an influencing trend number 5. And there's one more. And it comes back to supply and demand.
Yeah.
So supply is our final trend number 6. Builders across Florida are working really hard to ramp up their production of new housing inventory. We see that in the number of new communities that still continue to populate in our area
It's
in Southwest
amazing
Florida.
how many there are, yes.
And that gives choices. But those builders don't have an easy time of it yet either. There are still some hangover trends from 2021 that are not going to be gone
Right.
in 2022, and that has to do with their continuing issue of shortages for supplies and labor. And have you seen that? I think you have.
We talk to builders usually on a weekly basis, and we see what's happening on their side firsthand, and they can sell you the house, but then can they build the house for you? There's still a lot of supply issues when it comes to things like HVACs, air conditioning, windows, pool equipment, all kinds of things that people are working round the clock to try to fill up those voids, but they are there.
Right. And so that means it's, slowing down their ability to help bring supply up closer to demand. And in 2022, the expectation is that cannot catch up sufficiently. So demand is still going to outstrip our supply here in Southwest Florida. So if you're a seller, whether you're selling in resale or, feeling like I'm competing with a builder, you've got a great opportunity to list your home and get a good value for it, because there is going to be more demand for homes like yours than the supply can keep up with. And yes, builders are out there building, but you won't lose every sale to a builder because they can't deliver an infinite number of homes.
Right.
And so there's still that bottleneck.
There's still the bottleneck. There's still the lead time. So there's less competition from new construction. So if you're going to have a home that you want to sell and it's in beautiful condition, you can do very well with selling your house at a top price.
That makes sense. So those are the 6 trends for 2022 from the eyes of the economists and the real estate professionals across the state of Florida. And I think for the most part, we're seeing our version of those trends, as we said, play out in all of these anecdotes that we're sharing. So if I was going to wrap it up, I would say that people need to continue both on the selling side and buying side to remain flexible.
Yes.
Our market trends are evolving. It's not set in stone what it's going to look like by mid-year of 2022 or toward the end of the year, but these trends are creating a lot of momentum for sellers heading into the new year and creating more optimism for buyers because of some of this sort of rebalancing. And it takes a lot of time to keep up with market trends and everything that's happening in the market around which communities are coming online, which communities are selling out, what's happening in particular resale environments. And so you really want to make sure you have access to the experience, expertise, and ongoing support of your own representation as you think about participating in the Southwest Florida market, whether you're a potential home buyer, seller, or investor. So we welcome your outreach. Our contact information is down below in the description for this video, and we would welcome the opportunity to see how we can best assist you meeting your real estate needs in 2022. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you found some value here in our sneak peek on the top trends for 2022 in Florida real estate, I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, I really invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. It is absolutely free. There's no obligation, but it does give you an opportunity to be notified whenever our new episodes are being posted to this channel. And we welcome you joining us on this journey looking at real estate and the trends for buyers and sellers throughout the year. So thanks again for watching the video. We look forward to it. Thumbs up. Please subscribe. It really does help the channel, and we appreciate it very, very much. We look forward to talking with you.
And it was probably not easy to tell, but this is Christmas, and it's It's getting chilly out here.
Oh, I don't think so. I'm pretty warm. So, as we wrap up this video, we want to make sure we do wish all of you a very happy holiday. Greetings from Naples and from Southwest Florida. And I hope you enjoyed our time out here. We are enjoying a morning coffee and tea, as we do on our planning meetings, at the 5th Avenue Coffee Shop and 6th Street Diner, right here on the corner of 5th Avenue and 6th Street in the heart of downtown Naples. It's a beautiful shop. It's a very popular one, as I think we can see from the number of people sitting behind us at all these outdoor tables here in December, enjoying a morning coffee or tea.
It's very well named. They picked a good name for
They
it.
did.
Right? Yeah.
It doesn't leave a lot to the imagination, right where to find them.
Right.
And people do. This is popular every day of the week. So we hope to see you here some morning. We're out enjoying our coffee and tea, and it's quite good. Wishing everybody a very happy holiday and a very safe holiday, and all the best heading into another busy year in 2022.
Thanks a lot. Bye now.
See you next time.